Star Wars Episode 9 The Phantom Menace was worse than my taint. Like, how could anyone have a better ending for the Star Wars sequel trilogy? You have a bad guy who ties everything together in the end for 3 different eras. They do a lot of new stuff and a lot of callbacks. While they end up addressing a bunch of stuff online people complain about. Like my son. The Rey Kylo plot gets finished. We bring back a cool, fun character. It explains stuff from the rest of the trilogy. JJ's Palpatine, which I could get into later. It's a plot that basically mimics Episode 7, where people are after the map to Luke Skywalker. There's Sith language. A lot of people like this movie. The people who like this movie. A lot of people like this movie. A lot of them even hate The Last Jedi. And I'm not saying commercialism isn't the worst thing ever. Disney owns ESPN, which owns UFC, has the rights to one of the highest rated sports programs on TV, which averages 10 million viewers per program. WWE just saved $500 million by cutting costs. That's a lot of pizza rolls you can buy. Disney could possibly take over the Super Bowl spot from Fox, which is probably owned by friggin' Disney. Disney bought Fox. Figure 4 Weekly, the biggest show regarding wrestling news, has rumored that even 5 to 10 years, Disney is the number one. WWE is the number one. They're the number one buyer for Disney in 5 to 10 years. Disney owns 80% of the movie industry box office. That being said, I don't expect the guy who made Looper to make such a horrible film. Fans who hate The Last Jedi think that they know art, but consider everything they like Marvel The Avengers. They should have a trip to my basement. Palpatine was behind it all. No shit, I told you before. I like The Last Jedi. When I originally did the Phantom Menace review, I said midichlorians were the worst thing ever. And all of a sudden you idiots think that midichlorians are the best thing ever? Like, did you listen? Maybe I should offer you a pizza roll. This isn't a trip to my basement. The Last Jedi had a woman who can be a Jedi. A woman who could be a main character. A woman who can learn about the Force. Luke didn't learn about the Force at such a young age. Much like Rey. She looks younger than I picture at least Luke Skywalker in Episode 7. You know, the age where a 4-year-old swinging a lightsaber. You know the age where... You know where I complained about when 4-year-olds were swinging lightsabers with a blast shield on? The Last Jedi has a premise that I supposedly thought that the signs of good and evil were supposed to be destroyed. More on that later. The Palpatine thing isn't a plot hole. It's a surprise that wasn't expected. It doesn't contradict anything. There's nothing that says he couldn't have a mate. The fact that he was Darth Plagueis might have also been implied to be the reasoning how he created Rey Skywalker. Furthermore, it's sort of brilliant. Ian McDiarmid comes back, and probably planned. Ian McDiarmid, the best actor in Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, and now Rise of Skywalker, is the best performance of every third film in the Star Wars trilogy. And he's alive, so you don't have to hologram him in the film, like in Rogue One. This whole argument where people argue how the writer of The Last Jedi didn't write his own Rickron, and it's pretty stupid. Like, that's exactly what... You're saying J.J. Abrams knows how to write? Have you watched his films? When you saw Khan become a Cajun character with the most complicated plot ever that doesn't make any sense, you thought J.J. Abrams was a good writer? It's pretty evident that it was Rian Johnson, who does have credit for previous drafts of the plot, the original plot, especially prior to Colin Trevorrow leaving. Not to mention that J.J. Abrams praised Rian Johnson's work on the movie, and it shouldn't be retconned out by fans who just don't research or don't believe the facts behind who wrote what in this franchise. People criticize Last Jedi. Back to Last Jedi. People criticize Last Jedi for not making the same amount of money as Star Wars The Force Awakens, which made $2 billion. I mean, it's not like The Empire Strikes Back didn't make double the money Star Wars did. Oh, it also didn't do that well critically received from critical reception. The original Star Wars is one of the best-selling films of all time. However, pretty much in the top 5, number 1, adjusted for inflation, against Gone with the Wind. None of the other films come close, if that's your argument. The Force Awakens had the same thing going on. I should research about the prequel trilogy. This is a whole argument about... I don't like talking too much about the internet arguments, but there's talking about, like, a lot of people didn't like how film was used, even though he was basically African-American male Leia in the film. There is implication that he understands the Force, and Detective had a feeling that a certain thing was on the Star Destroyer, which would probably take place in another part of the franchise, which Rian Johnson was rumored to originally take part in. Instead of good versus evil, evil just had a different name. The Jedi and Sith were trying to be destroyed. Factions such as the Knights of Ren and Sith Troopers would take over. That's pretty much it for my draft. What are your thoughts on subscribe?